Okay, I have a question for men. Why don't you guys approach us in public? It's so frustrating. Like, I just went to Lowe's and I was walking around grabbing some supplies for my move, and I made eye contact with like 3 different guys. I was smiling, I was just like doing my thing, and nobody came up to me. They almost seemed like annoyed that I was looking at them. It's just such a weird world we're in. I guess everyone uses online dating apps, but if you guys would just like approach a girl, I'm telling you 99% of women would love it. Like, all you have to say is like, you know, oh, I love your shoes, or, you know, do you need help with this, or literally anything, and you'll be able to tell right away if she's like vibing with you, or if she's into you, or if she's not interested and has a boyfriend. Like, she'll probably just like be a little bit more shy and walk away or something. Like,
You know, considering the modern realities, I wouldn't risk approaching such a girl if I were the guy. Exactly. Her cleavage is too blatantly inviting a conversation, which already raises some doubts. Many guys have gotten into trouble for much less, for things they didn't even do just because it seemed that way to a woman. So it's no surprise that men prefer to avoid overly attractive women, expecting possible trouble from it.
The guy ran at 50 yards. Get him.
Worst date that I can remember would be I went out with somebody and they didn't have enough money for the dates. And then the next day I made a joke that he should have enough money when he was going out with his friends. And then his response was, maybe you shouldn't have eaten that much. That's my worst date.
What happened to men pursuing girls? When was the pivotal moment that a man chose to not go after a girl anymore or put in any effort? It seems like guys can just put the bare minimum and not even really put in effort anymore. They don't really care to. Or they're like, why don't girls just go and make the first move and make the effort? When did it become a thing? Now it's like role reversal where they expect girls to be making the first moves, yearning for a guy and chasing him. That is, I feel like, the downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone, because men don't put in effort anymore, don't care to put in effort. And a relationship won't work unless the guy likes the girl just a tiny little bit more. He has to like her just the tiniest bit more for it to work in the long haul. So it would make sense if a guy really wanted to get to know you, that he would go leaps and bounds to get to know you. And when did that shift? Because back in my mom's era, if a guy wanted to take you out on a date, he had to go up to you, he had to get your number, he had to go through lengths to try to talk to you, even if you weren't interested at first. How my parents met? They met at a bar, and my dad asked for my mom to dance. My mom was like, get out of here. She wanted nothing to do with him. If he had just left and listened to her, they would have never gone married. They would have never had kids. But he was persistent. He wanted to take her out on a date so badly. He was like, what do I have to do to take you out on a date? She was working late their first date, so he went to her work, picked her up, prepped a dinner, took her to a park, just plan the whole thing.
Because if a man persisted like that in today's dating world, he would at the very least be called a creep. And at the worst, he'd be going to jail. That is the reality that a lot of men face. So that, in combination with the fact that women are not really reciprocating effort and they're not treating men very well right now, there is a large group of men that are saying that it's just not worth it. And they would say that women have asked for it. They have asked men to leave them alone. So guess what, ladies? They're leaving you alone.
Absolutely right. Too many men have faced unfortunate consequences after such persistent advances. Times have indeed changed, and that's normal. Just like in the past, people married only those partners chosen by their parents. Nowadays, that's no longer relevant, right? So there's no point in complaining online with a pouty face. Just live as your heart tells you. Maybe you'll want to approach the guy you really like first.
Do you think men are important? Like for what?
I don't know. Everything?
I do not need a man.
I've always wanted one, though.
I can finance myself, I can myself.
So, go do that.
And I can feed myself.
Look at you! Such a big girl!
What makes a terrible husband?
He exists, and he is a man.
What did your dad do to you exactly?
There wasn't one.
Men are trash.
But I want another one.
What the hell are we gonna do without men?
Starve.
They'll complain and complain and complain and complain and complain.
You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up. These men, they're doing impossible things. They're under the streets, working on the sewers. They're up on the power lines. in the storms and the rain. They're keeping this impossible infrastructure functioning, this thing that works in a miraculous manner. They work themselves to death, and often literally.
If you're one of the men that built this civilization, subscribe and let us know.
Guys, look at this comment. This is exactly what I'm talking about is happening, and I'm so thankful that you confirm this. He's saying when he got into the dating world at 21, he was told not to approach a woman. So if he wants a woman, he's been told not to approach her. So now we've got women who have told men that they're toxic, but now they want to be approached because they changed their minds, or they're not going to be approaching anymore. If you're in your 20s, just forget about it. I mean, the chances of you getting approached in your 20s is has shrunk so much because society was telling men, leave women alone. If you approach them, you're harassing them. So then that's society telling them, well, what if they had one of those moms who also said the same thing, that men are toxic, whether it was a single mom or whether she's married. This boy, guy, man, young man, any young man in the world can and has possibly been surrounded not only by society telling him to leave women alone, but family members to leave him alone. And then you've got women who are waiting to get approached. I got to tell you guys, you've got to take it off the table, ladies. Take it off the table that you're going to get approached. Time to approach men. That's just the way it is. And we don't have to like it. We don't have to think it's fair. We don't have to think it's right. It's just the way it is. It's just how we are right now in society. It's just a fact of life. Taxes are up. No one likes that, but guess what? You got to pay the piper. I mean, just things are happening right now that we've created, and we don't like it. But here we are. Maybe it'll change another 5 to 10 years, but for right now, you can't expect men to approach you. That ship has sailed.
Where were all these women when the trend of hating men for everything imaginable started? The whole internet was filled with it. Of course, this was bound to provoke a response, wasn't it? No need to be surprised now. A new generation of princesses has grown up, deciding they need courtship and flowers. But nowadays, men have learned and have an antidote to this poison. And, it's still unknown where all this might lead. What do you think?
Listen, I'm tired of wasting my time. If you're not going to be obsessed with me, go ahead and give my number to your friend. Go ahead and hand that over.
You're 30 and a 304. You have no use. You are a high-risk pregnancy, and you are too old. You had too many experiences. You're too ran through. We don't want you.
So I met another man on Hinge. We decided we were going to schedule a date for Thursday. He was like, where you want to go? I didn't want to get back all dressed up like I was for my other date. So I was like, we'll just meet at a wing spot. I'm not trying to, because he's coming off really, really nice. I'm not trying to break the bank. Mind y'all, this man is not my type. He's not the usual type, but I'm kind of over types because it's the only thing types have gotten me thus far worse something's my damn 9-year-old. So I'm like, you know what? You've got to expand yourself. So I meet him. We meet at the wing spot. Y'all, when I tell y'all, he looks so much better in person, and he was super nice from the very jump. Conversations going good. Everything is perfect. The conversation is good. We are laughing. We are talking. I mean, everything's going good. So after the date, we schedule the next date. We're going to go ahead and meet Saturday. He was like, we are really vibing. We're going to meet Saturday at the little putt-putt golf place. I was like, okay, cool. So he texts me Friday, and this is where I think things went downhill. He's like, do you have social media? Specifically an Instagram. I was like, yeah, I have an Instagram. So I gave him my Instagram. He was like, oh, okay, cool. He immediately requested me. He was like, oh, you got more pictures on here. I was like, yeah, no biggie, right? So Everything is still going good. We still talking and laughing over text messages. Y'all, I'm really having a connection. Mind you, I done called every one of my friends. Like, every one of my closest friends. And they all like, you like somebody? I'm like, yes, like genuinely. And he not my type. Like, physically, you know, whatever. And they're like, we can't believe it. So, here comes Saturday. And he texts me. And he was like, hey, good morning. And I noticed it wasn't a normal good morning, beautiful. Still, I'm like, you know what? Maybe he's just trying to jazz it up. I was like, so are we still on the meet? He was like, yeah, we gonna meet at 7. So I pull up to the place. He's there. We go in. We get a table. We're trying to decide if we're gonna eat first or play games first, you know, whatever. But it's super loud in there. And he's like, I want to talk to you about something. I was like, okay, cool. I can't really hear you. Let's go outside so we can talk, because he seemed serious. So we get outside and he was like, so I searched your name on TikTok. I was like, okay. He was like, you didn't tell me you had a TikTok. I was like, well, you asked for my Instagram. So immediately I'm like, oh, hell, what's the problem? Like, I really like you. Like, what's up? He was like, well, I didn't know you had a TikTok. And he was like, did you really call a man a bitch? It's like, it's not usually in my repertoire, but if you recall, that man wanted me to call him that. He was like, I don't know about that. He was like, I'm starting to think maybe this is all a game for you. I'm like, no, I like you. But then I'm like, on the other hand, you're never gonna see me again either, because you really pissing me the hell off. He was like, then you didn't tell me your baby daddy lived in your complex. At this point, I'm like, you know what? Gaslight him. I'm like, so how many videos you sit there and watch without telling me before you watch them? He was like, I watched quite a few of them. He was like, you left a man who was bleeding. I was like, I had on white. I was like, and I didn't even know him, just like I don't know you. I was like, you're really making this like out to be way more than what it should be. He was like, and I told you from the jump that I really have a hard time trusting people. Trust your damn instincts. Here, you probably need to leave, because I'm about to go. I'm really feeling you, but I don't know if we can move forward because of what we, because I don't know if I can trust you or believe your intentions. I was like, no, you can very well believe you'll never see me again. Like, you can believe it. And he's like, let's just go back in here. We're going to go back here and we're going to continue the date. I'm like, no, we're not. No, we're not. Because you done too much. Because you could have told me this before we got here, that this made you uncomfortable. He was like, well, one of the comments say that you be I don't want to hear them all. You know what? You read those comments and you have a nice night and read them damn comments, because I'm gone. So that was the end of that. So now I'm preparing myself for another Hinge FaceTime call. So I started talking to him. We're going to wrap this Hinge shit up real quick. But I started talking to him last week, and I don't want to leave him hanging, because I'm like, hell, might as well. You gave everybody else a damn chance. So we're going to do a FaceTime call. This will be our first time FaceTime. I'll let y'all know how that go. He's my usual type, so it's probably not gonna go nowhere, but we will see. I'm gonna be positive and optimistic, and we will.
The guy did nothing wrong. It was her form of entertainment. She manipulated him, leaving him confused. He just wanted confirmation of her feelings. But he'll find a good girl who truly deserves him. She scared him and didn't give him a chance. Guys ask if she has TikTok, and check it out. If she criticizes men and holds feminist views, it's a red flag. Walk away and unmatched. When he asked about TikTok, she looked shocked, knowing what he would find. He stopped talking to her because of her posts. Once you uncover her manipulations, she will see you as an enemy.